I got into a bit of a habit of writing down lyrics and different lines that I enjoyed. And when I first got acclimated into this like energetic spiritual world, which everybody can tune into, and a lot of times you already are tuned into it, you're just not aware of it, you will get messages in different forms. This is where you hear terms like clairvoyance, clairaudio, clairsentience. These are different messages that come in different formats, whether it's audible, you can see things, there's an inner knowing sometimes. They're just messages from sometimes your subconscious, other times they come from the ethereal, right? We have guides that watch over us. We have, you can call them angels, you can call them whatever you want, but we do have energies that protect, guide, make sure that you're aligned, give you signals to kind of help you navigate your life. So when I started tapping into this, I was curious what my signals would be. Because I didn't see things, I didn't always hear things. I do have an inner knowing, and a lot of my intuition has been strengthened based on a lot of these messages that I got, and these messages that I received are typically from music. Sometimes they're from poems. Poetry is a big one, which also comes through music, like rap is a lot of poetry. A lot of the musicians I like are honestly just poets. Machine Gun Kelly, Zach Bryan, even some punk rock songs, Zed's Dead, shit like that, Trevor Hall. There was lines that I would isolate in these songs that would literally coat my body in goosebumps. And they typically happened at a time where I was thinking or asking a question. And even though I've listened to the song probably 200 times, at one point this line would come through very clear, and it applied directly to what I was facing in that situation. And a lot of times that's my indication that, okay, you're here, you're aligned, keep going. Numerology for some people, when you see your angel numbers, like 111, 222, that kind of stuff. For me, the number 13, the time I was born, 113, shows up a lot if I'm usually questioning if something's going right. If I look at the time, if I'm driving and I look at a song, a lot of times I see 113. And I just think, okay, cool. Whatever I'm going to do is aligned for me. I'm on the right path. So that's kind of how I guide myself. And trust, I build trust in those situations. When I heard this line, it was in a TV show. And it happened at a very sentimental moment for somebody. And it says, I made you this bright so that others would see in the darkness. And in that moment, I recognized that all of the shit that I've been through helps me connect with people. I often get labeled as being very extreme because my pendulum swings from one end to the other. The balance is very difficult for me to attain in my life, and I find balance by swinging from one side to the other. That seems to be my balance. There isn't really this mundane center. That's just not how I live my life. I strive to find that, but it typically swings hard one way or the other. So with that being said, all of the experiences I find in the outer boundaries, obviously there's the whole interim in between that help me connect to whatever that is. So when I'm seeing clients or friends or family or whatever, a lot of times there's situations where they're experiencing when I can relate to them because I've encountered a situation similar or the same through this pendulum. And it hit a point when I heard this, the recognition that people sometimes are beacons of light. And I'm not self-claiming to be a beacon of light. It's just a recognition that I'm able to help people. And I think that's why I enjoy doing what I do, whether it's, again, I'm not a therapist, but helping people work through some mental issues or get stuck in ruts physically. That's kind of where I strive. I help people understand where their body is off balance and really work to bring that back into some not perfect. We strive for perfection, but we never find it. But for me at least, I do look for perfection. And in order to find that center again, where that balance is where I do my best work. So with that being said, this line was just the epitome of a lot of the work that I put in. And when people are in their dark night of the soul, a lot of times they find their way to me because they're struggling to get answers from the medical system, from whatever, you name it. But a lot of times the work that I put in ends up being helpful to a lot of people. So when they're in the darkness, they look for light, and I do my best to provide that space. So I made you this bright so that others would see in the darkness. It lit my soul on fire. So I wanted to share that with you. And yeah, if you're looking for ways to connect and you love music, if you get goosebumps, pay attention to what's being said. There's a couple lines. This one specifically, and another one from a Trevor Hall song that I couldn't get away from. Write them down. I write them on my mirror. I see them every day. A lot of times it's your soul speaking.